Morning campers, it's 7 AM. I'm tired, I'm exhausted. However, I'm ready to go on my way to see Mr. NIALL again. I mean, it's playing golf, but that's not really too bad because I actually quite like it now. Hi guys, so just thought I'd jump in to explain what happened in this little section before NIALL actually teed off at the golf. So basically, if you haven't watched my previous video, I had met NIALL in Florida about a week or maybe 2 weeks before this golf actually happened, and it was just a really great meet and greet experience. So if you'd like to see that, link is up there, go watch it when you finish this one. So anyway, met NIALL in Florida a couple of weeks before this golf. Then NIALL was announced to play this golf, so me and my mum were like, let's just go. It'd be nice to see NIALL again, obviously, because when he'd finished tour, obviously we didn't know when we were going to be seeing him again, because he was basically just going to hide himself away in the studio to write the legendary album that is Heartbreak Weather. So basically, just before NIALL teed off, me and my mum had literally just got back from Florida, like maybe 3-4 days before this golf even, you know, started. So we were literally like exhausted, and it was a very early tee off. I think it was about like an 8 or 9 AM tee off, which he usually tees off in the afternoon. So having to get up that early, we were like, oh my goodness, how are we going to do this? So we kind of, obviously we were watching NIALL because he's about to tee off, and my mum shouted over to him, she was like, how are you not jet lagged? And he was like, jet lagged? We've been back 2 weeks. And we're like, we've been back 2 weeks? We've been back about 3 days, sir. So obviously we didn't say that to him, but that's what like we were saying to each other. We're like, we've literally been back 3 days, and all of my friends were like laughing at us, and we were just like, okay. So there's another little sassy NIALL and my mum moment, because I know a few people love those and I love those as well. So anyway, let's continue with the video. I will basically be jumping in throughout this video again like I have done in previous ones, just to kind of explain what happens in like certain places when we have like certain interactions or something like that, because at this golf, unfortunately, this was actually one of my favourite ever golfs I've been to with NIALL, and I've been to quite a lot now, and this will always be like my #1. And unfortunately, all of the interaction, like the great interaction that we had all day, we don't have on film. So you're gonna have to just take my word for it, guys. I'm really sorry. I have none of my like favourite interactions with NIALL on film, but I have it all in my head. I still remember every single thing that happened, and it was just honestly like such a great, really, really, really funny day with NIALL. So I hope you enjoyed this video.
When I'm lonely in the dark, I know you are with me, yeah. Don't you see that I need you so much? Don't you see that I love you so much? Oh na 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 na, oh na 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 na, darling, I need your love. Oh na 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 na, oh na 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 na, darling, I need your love. When I'm lonely in the...
So in the clip you've just seen, basically, is NIALL kind of walking down the little walkway between holes, high-fiving people, and basically you might have seen my face was a bit like shocked, because basically this man, for whatever reason, does not high-five me when I put my hand out. Like, I put my hand out and he'll like go along the line, and then he'll just go whoop over my hand, and I'll be like standing there like, why are you doing this to me? This time he'd actually like allowed me to high-five him, and we like grabbed each other's hands. So that's why I was like, so like, oh my god, because he just doesn't high-five me. And I was like, this is literally like, this is a game changer. This is history changing right in front of me. Niall Horan has finally high-fived me, and it's a running joke with me and my friends where he's just like, where everyone's just like, oh, Niall never high-fives you, he doesn't high-five you, and I just stand there like, yep, it's fine.
I know you are with me, yeah. Don't you see that I need you so much? Don't you see that I love you so much? Oh na na na.
So after he tees off at this part, basically we're walking down the walkway from like the walkway, no, fairway, from the hole, from no am I okay, from the tee off to the hole. We were walking down, we were walking next to Niall, and he was quite like close to us, and he was talking to someone else. So like we were kind of discussing amongst me and my friends, we were kind of talking about whether we were gonna like say something to him or not. So me and my friends were kind of thinking like, what can we shout to him, what can we say to him? And then he'd like just finished talking to the person he was talking to, looked up at us and went, I think I've broken my back. And I looked down at him and I was like, how? How have you broken your back? And he was like, oh, I think it's my sciatica. So I was just like, oh, you're like my mum, because my mum had that. And then he was just like, yeah, but she's got like 20 years on me. And I was like, sir, excuse me? So I just started laughing and like walked up, because I was like, what can I reply to that? And he was just standing there laughing, and I was like, this is not funny, this is not funny at all. But it actually was quite funny, and my mum wasn't there, so that's probably why he said it. If she was there, I don't think he'd have said that, but she wasn't there at that point. She'd gone a bit further down to kind of film him coming down. But yeah, I was like, that's a bit cheeky. Excuse me, that's my mum you're talking about. So at one point, about halfway round, we for some reason decided to like go to the other side of the area where people were standing. So like, so say there's like this the course is like that. Okay, so fans was like, loads of fans were standing here all the way along, and then for some reason I said let's go around to the other side, and we walked around and went like down this ditch, which we all kind of weren't expecting to be there. So we either like fell down it, all of us, or some of us jumped over it, which was fun. And in that, I think it was at that point, Daisy cut her ankle when she fell down this ditch, so that wasn't fun. Yeah, my friend Daisy injured herself around the golf course, so you know, stay safe at golf, guys. Anyway, so we were standing at like the other part of the course. We were allowed to stand there because there was still blue ropes and everything, and no one was there to tell us that we couldn't stand there. So we were standing like opposite to where everyone else was, and like we were standing behind Niall, he had his back to us, and we started just like laughing because we were thinking, we're literally the only people standing around here. And then obviously over time people like came round, but then Niall like turned around, looked at us all and like laughed and went, you've made it hard for yourselves now. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was just like, because you've got to go all the way around, whereas everyone else just walked straight down. And I was like, sorry, we could do with the exercise. And then I was like, well, it's probably not a great idea anyway, because Daisy's just broken her ankle. And he like looked down at her ankle and it was like, you know, cut. And he was like, oof. And then just like turned back round and like was about to tee off again.
The 9-year-old's grab.
As you will have seen from the next couple of clips, that we're basically sitting up in a grandstand watching Niall like I think it was about halfway around, so we were watching Niall, you know, kind of at the hole and putting and all of that. And basically after him and his team kind of all finished putting, grandstands are quite loud, like when you stand up and the seats hit the back of the seats, and like obviously it's metal, so when you walk around it's quite loud. So we waited till like everyone in the team had totally finished and we're about to go to the next hole until we stood up and kind of started moving around. So basically when everyone finished, we obviously clapped for them and they all said thanks, and there weren't very many people sitting up in this grandstand. So basically when we stood up to kind of go back and walk down, Niall was obviously walking down to the next hole as well, and he looked up at us all walking along this grandstand and was like, come on. And we were like, we're coming. Okay, don't rush us, please, we are coming. Sorry, we're not going fast enough for you.
When I'm lonely in the dark, I know you are with me, yeah. Don't you see that I need you so much? Don't you see that I love you so much? Oh na 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 na, oh na 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 na, darling, I need your love. Oh na 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 na, oh na 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 na, darling, I need your love.
So it was getting towards the end of Niall's round, and basically all the way around, obviously after he'd taken his shot, we were all clapping for him, being like, yes, well done, what a great shot. And at one point we were clapping for him when he'd just taken his shot, and he turned around to us and he was like, why do you always clap during the bad shots? We were like, we don't know the difference, sorry. Like, we genuinely did not. At this point we didn't. Now we're kind of a bit better at it, but at this point we didn't really know the difference between a good and a bad shot, so we were just like, what? So this next bit you'll see him sass us out because he took a shot and we thought it was a good one, so we clapped, and he like looked at us and was like, stop clapping during all the bad shots. And we were like, sorry again, sorry, we don't, you know, we don't know the difference.
Should we clap?
Did you clap at the right time?
I don't know.
Wait, was that a good one? Was it a good one?
At one point as well, me and my friends decided that it was a good idea to just lay down in the grass, because, you know, it was actually a really hot day, even though it was October. It was a really, really, really hot day, and like I said, because we'd all had to get up quite early to be there for like when he teed off, we were all just kind of laid in the grass just chilling out and stuff in the sun. And like none of us caught Niall doing this, absolutely none of us even realised that he did this. And my mum was the only person to notice that he'd said this. So basically as he walked past us and we were laid in the grass, he just went, oh, you think you're so funny, don't you? And I think he looked back to kind of see our reactions, but because we were all talking and none of us even noticed that he was there, he like looked up at my mum, who was laughing, and carried on walking down, and my mum was just like, you all just missed him speak to you then, and none of you said anything to him, and we were like, oh no. Oops. So yeah, I think that's why he kind of got a little bit sassy with the whole, why do you keep clapping during the bad shots? Because we did not ignored him before, so sorry, Niall. So after all of that, obviously Niall finished his round and basically met everyone, and obviously I will always thank this man, and I will always be so grateful to him, because he really does make sure to meet everyone. He spends so much time with everyone. He's so grateful to everyone that comes out, especially if they travel over. He's just so grateful to everyone, and I just literally could not thank him enough for always, you know, taking time out to meet people, because he does have very busy schedules with these events, because not only does he play, but I think he does some other things, kind of like award things, or like other interviews and stuff like that. So just the fact that he kind of finds time in his schedule to just meet everyone just honestly like warms my heart, and we're all always so grateful for him, like, for doing that for us. So basically when he got over to kind of like our group when we were meeting him, I was like, oh, how have you played today? And he was like, oh, not great. And I was like, you were all right, you were good. And he was like, the start was terrible, but we got into it. And I was like, of course. And whilst he was doing that, I actually got him to sign a golf ball, which I will go and find and show you right now. Found it. I got him to sign my golf ball. I had a golf ball for him to sign, and he signed it. So, very grateful. So yes, whilst all that interaction was going on, obviously he was signing my golf ball, I was speaking to him, and then when he'd finished and handed me the golf ball back, I was like, what did you do with my lightsabers I gave you in Tampa? Because if you didn't know, here's a little sneak peek into last week's vlog. I basically was robbed by him. He stole my lightsabers that I took with me for my meet and greet photo, and I was expecting to come back with at least one of them, and I came back with 0 because Niall stole them from me. So I was like wanting to know what he did with them. So he was like laughing and saying, oh, they ended up in the box in the lad's dressing room. So I was like laughing, and then we got our picture together, which I'll insert here.
When I'm lonely in the dark, I know you are with me, yeah. Don't you see that I need you so much? Don't you see that I love you so much?
You want to throw that in the next thing you got?
So set up for me. So just go totally NIALL neutral, where you feel more right? Okay, so what do you feel as far as pressure, not weight or pressure? So say this is 100%, is it 50-50, is it 60-40, is it 60-40? So I would say I was about 50-50, right? Well, the thing is like, I've worked with swing catalysts for 6 or 7 years. So a little bit more, right? And then with that hip move forward, so push it forward for me. There you go. I'd like to see you try and hit like a mid-trajectory drop. Overhead drop, right? Okay. Go for it. It's time to start, mate.
Oh, that drew.
That drew.
You're a couple inches back at the ball when they contact, but that's the thing, it's hard to make changes, right?
Yeah, it is.
Nice. We're going to get a number there in my ear.
That's going to be short.
Oh, how far did you say? 125? 122. That's not bad, 122. Come on! Right, so let's get out. We'll soon be to see now.
And then the final amazing thing that kind of happened this day was obviously the very like, I don't know how many people have watched this interview, but he did like a little interview for Sky Sports, like talking about his golf swing and things like that. So we were able to watch that, and not very many people were there watching that. So it was quite like a nice thing to kind of watch, knowing that was going live out on TV, but we were actually watching it live. And then when he'd finished it, he like turned around, because he was standing with his back to us the whole time. So he turned around and kind of waved and like said hi to us, and we're like waving back. And then he jumped on his golf buggy to kind of obviously be taken back to the clubhouse or whatever. So as he was driving away, and he was quite far away at this point, and then he shouted back to us. He was like, oh, we came second, by the way. And we were like, oh, yay! Like clapping as he was driving off. And it was like, that was actually so cute that he like shouted back to us to tell us what place he came. We're like, oh, that's Thanks, sir, for telling us. You know, well done for coming second. First the worst, second the best. Let's just put it that way. So that is basically the end of this video. Like I've said so many times in it, this was literally one of my favourite ever golfs with Niall, and I really hope that kind of came across in the video, and I'm really sorry that so many of the interactions just weren't filmed, but I hope you enjoyed the story times and all of the other footage that you got as well. And that is basically it. I just want to finish this video by telling you all to follow your passion, make it happen, and I'll see you all next week. Bye!